Well, the things he's done all year, which is be hard on the puck, second effort around the net, play inside, look to shoot, funnel. I thought he was physical in certain games, obviously earlier in the playoffs when that was required. Win his puck battles on the wall. We're not that down on past. Obviously, the goal total, he scored 2 goals in the one game, has in the other. Some of that is the way it goes sometimes, the way the other teams check him, and we just want to make sure he's staying positive and being a contributor for us. And eventually, I believe he'll score. That's how he makes some of his best contributions, obviously. But we'll see where he ends up tomorrow and go from there.
Does it seem like his shots are getting either blocked or missing the net with more regularity than they did during the regular season? Have you noticed anything with that?
I find he's a little more hesitant on the power play on the elbow from just ripping it on the net. I think they're getting in his shooting lane, and there's some opportunity to go backdoor to Johansson or Jake or Marshy. Last night we missed one. He made a hell of a play to Marsh in the power play that we just tipped wide. So that might be a little bit about what's available. So in that area, I guess, not as much volume. He did shoot one that ended up rattling around. Marsh hits a crossbar. So we're going to encourage him to keep pounding the puck on the net. Usually there's not a lot of bad things that happen when you shoot the puck, especially the way he does. So, but that could be guys are closing on him a little quicker.
Is there an update on Krejci?
Krejci came in today. He'll be continue to be listed as day to day. So we'll see how he is tomorrow. We'll let you know in the morning whether he's in or out, or warm up. It could be a game time decision.
How does with that said, how does the depth that you have maybe help the fact if he's not able to?
Well, the Charlie Coyle acquisition was precisely to solidify third line center, and then in case of emergency, a guy that can move up. We had that conversation internally for a long time. Do we have a guy early in the year that could move up? We plugged guys in there that played well at times, but could they move up in the event of a Bergeron-Krejci injury? We know Sean Corrali could go from fourth line to third line. We have ourselves covered with Charis and Wagner's could play down the lineup, but that was always our concern. So Charlie's a big piece of the puzzle when it comes to situation if one of those two guys isn't able to go. So we're thankful to have him. Last night he played in his usual spot. It's a big reason we won the game.
Were you a little surprised with Columbus' slow start in the first?
No, I think it's hard when you miss to ramp up playoff intensity. When you miss, not miss, but you don't have live puck battles, physical contact for 8 games. I imagine they had some level of battle in practice, but you really want to be careful this time of year in practice. You're not leaving it out on the practice surface and guys get hurt. So they found their game eventually. But no, I think it's normal for teams to go through a little bit of that.
Once you think the tighter play that they had in the second, third period, kind of sort of like a quagmire, is it the style that we're going to see in the public?
I don't know. I mean, I suspect they're going to, what I saw against Tampa is they reloaded well, worked to get back above the puck. So I think they want to limit offense from the opposition. They did that to Tampa. I'm sure they're going to want to do it to us. So I assume we'll see a lot of that. But they also have, I think, 2 very good scoring lines that generate on rush chances, the Duchesne line and then Panarin. So the game could tilt that way depending on if we go that way type of thing. You know, the shot, off-net chance, the way they come, off-net chance, the way they come. Their D are active. We've seen games like that against them. So whether they want to go down that road or not, sometimes that's score dictated. They get behind a goal, all of a sudden they press. And sometimes that's the referees, how tight they call the game or not, and off you go. So we'll see how it plays out.
Charlie Coyle had good numbers in his career in playoffs, but when you arrived in Boston, numbers were not that good. Are you surprised by the way he contributed to the playoffs compared to the regular season?
Coyle, is that who you said? I didn't hear the first. Yeah, yes and no. Usually the guys with the numbers are power play guys. Get out, see a little more of that. He's certainly on the second group. Has got a few points in the power play. I just think if you're going to be a successful team in the playoffs, there's always a story about a guy that kind of rises up. Whether it maybe a guy you deem a secondary scorer. Right now, it's him for us. Sure, if you look down through the league, I'm not going to off the top of my head name out every team, but there's usually that happens, and it's happening for us, and we need it. Some of our other guys that scored all year haven't found that level yet. We're all hoping and assuming they will, but until they do, then you need that to stay in the mix, and it's been a good story.
Last night, pretty indicative of how hard
I think yes, and I think some of the lateral, Charlie just squeaked his in. McAvoy had a similar chance from even closer. We know he's athletic, gets across, can beat the pass. Goalie Bob does a scouting report, and he was adamant that if you're going to go lateral on him, you got to get it up over the pad. And like I said, Charlie Coyle squeaked one in, McAvoy didn't from good range. So not surprised at his athleticism, not surprised at his compete around the net on second chances. Where we got to be better is getting in his eyes, force him to see pucks because he's not a huge guy. So you might get a few breaks there while he's fighting to find pucks that find holes. And I do believe on those second chances, when you're that competitive, you can get a little bit off your angle or out of the net. We saw a few of those situations. Marshy's is a good example. We just didn't finish it.
So if you do move Charlie up, would you put him with Jake and Pasta, or would you tweak?
Joe will go through that tomorrow. I could do all of those things.
You got Sean Corrali back last year, Wagner was back in last year. Does that allow you to set your penalty kill in the way that you had last night? It seemed like a really strong night for us.
It was. It was a very good night. We used Bergie and Marsh. Obviously, we've tried to monitor that this year, so it's not always hard minutes on those guys because of the offensive role they play for us. They play big minutes in the power play too. Then we have Noel and Nordy, who we found have really got some chemistry. Earlier in the year, Nordstrom was with Wagner, Morachari, Corrali, and they've built chemistry. So Corrali's now become basically our number 5. If you want to go Bergie, Marsh, Achari, Nordstrom, and then see if you could develop chemistry with Wagner. They've both been in and out of the lineup at different times here lately, so we're working on that. We've used Coyle for face-offs. We've used Cooley's when he's been in there. So that's kind of the lay of the land with the PK forwards. We'll see how it plays out. Last night was good, and a lot of that obviously has to do with our D. Are we getting the clear? First save and a clear. That was kind of our game plan last night, and it worked out for us for the most part.
You mentioned last night the rest might help Columbus in the long run. So on the flip side, how do you want to manage it so that you didn't get any breathing time? Today's off.
Well, that's the luck of the draw a little bit for us right now that we got to channel our energy right back into the next game. I suspect when I said it would help Columbus, I thought it might help them, even in the second half of the game last night. They find their legs. We might have a residual effect from our energy in Game 7. Went our way. Today's a day off. A lot of days we would have practiced because we had Wednesday off. There's 2 games in between Game 2 or an extra day. So Sunday will be off. So today is a lot of days we would have practiced probably if it had been a 5 or 6 game series. But so that's one way we do it. Give them an extra day today. I don't think it'll hurt us with an 8 o'clock game tomorrow. It's a long. Typically, Fluto, when we practice, like on a day like today, we won't morning skate. So that's, for the players, I think that's a long day for the 8 o'clock. Even though it's only an hour, it is a long day not to do much. So we'll skate tomorrow morning, but we'll see how it plays out. Like I said, I still believe they'll get some benefit from it in the long run, and we'll see if that plays out or not.
Once they found their game, I guess, after the first period, did it become the physical type of game that you expect? Do you buy into the notion of the team that can set the tone physically gets an advantage?
I don't know in this series because I think you've got 2 teams that play that style. I don't think either team is, trying to run the other team out of the rink, but they're not turning down hits. So I suspect tomorrow you'll see even more of it ramp up from the get-go. We're fine with that. We don't want to put ourselves in bad spots. I mean, Anderson, Boone, Jenner, these are big men. So we've asked our D this, make sure when you're going back on pucks that there's going to be times that you have to either reverse hit or go into the boards with that player. Not, you always hear it. Well, take a hit for the team. You got to be careful. It's a playoff series when guys are trying to knock you out of the series. You want to stay healthy and still win the puck battle or at least tie it. So there's a bit of that goes on. But I suspect tomorrow will be more physical. There was a little feeling out yesterday, and I thought that the temperature went up as the game went on. I suspect that'll be the case tomorrow from the get-go.